Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I greet you, my brothers and sisters, with the noble and universal greeting of peace, the greeting that has been used by the prophets and messengers of our universal Creator, Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have the privilege again of gathering today for the purpose of remembering our Creator. We are among those who want to remember our Creator and to experience the great benefit of remembering our Creator. And so, I did say to you last week that I am beginning this series of lectures focusing on a three-phase process that I've been through. I have told you that if you believe in Allah, He will guide your heart. And I have, from turning to Allah, asked Him to guide me and to ask Him to help me guide others as a therapist who came to me. And I have received that guidance, which is the Quran, the revelation, and the intuition around living the teaching that is the revelation given to humanity, which basically is to remember God. To remember God, to bring to God a purified heart, to worship God. So a lot of us, as I've explained over the many months, are not aware that we are not aware. A lot of us are unaware of our unawareness. And we're not aware of other people's unawareness. Unaware that we are unaware and unaware that other people are unaware. We don't recognize that those people, including us, we are not experiencing a purified heart. We're not experiencing spiritual well-being. And others around us have not been and are not experiencing spiritual well-being, a purified heart. We might not recognize that we're stuck in a rigid personality, in a fixed mentality, in a static reality. That we've been who we've been and we continue to be who we've been. More or less how we've been when we were growing up and we became young adults. We're more or less the same, as an extension of the child that we were, with the same mentality of the child that we were, with the mentality of the tribe that we came from. So we don't realize that we are currently unaware, and the people around us are unaware of our Creator, Almighty Allah. We don't realize it. We, speak to people, and we may be people who think, well, there's no God because we can't see God. We've never seen God. There's no evidence for God. Nobody has seen God. People who are using their own minds and thinking about the Creator and thinking that there's no God, and hearing other people's superstitious ideas, they say, yeah, that can't be that there's a God, because look at these people, what they believe and how they act and all that sort of thing. So there are people who are unaware and unaware that they're unaware, that they, through their minds, deny our universal Creator. And so they're not experiencing spiritual well-being. They're not, when you remember Allah, your hearts experience assurance. They're not aware that they are not aware. They're unaware that they're unaware. And their hearts are not experiencing that peace, that assurance, that tranquility. Allah puts tranquility into the hearts of the believers as He increases them in faith. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah, hearts experience assurance. So there are this group of people who use their mind, and they're unaware that they're unaware, because they're coming from their thinking selves. They think that they know. They think that what they know is all there is to know. They trust themselves trying to figure out God, and they come to their own conclusions that there's no God. They are the deniers, the kuffar. They are the ones who deny the existence of God, and they deny the nature of God, and they deny the truth that sets us free. They deny haqq. And so there are other people who are in their minds and they have ideas of God. Unlike the first type who believes that God doesn't exist in their ideas, they think that they have the idea that God doesn't exist. The second type of people, they have this idea about God, that God is a man, God is a woman, God is a thing, God is somewhere, located somewhere, God has form, God is in, some imaginary thing or being. They have ideas about God. And so now they have a religion around the ideas of God. But those are ideas of God. It's not the awareness of God. It's not the experiencing of God consciousness. They too have a diseased hearts and they are lost. They don't know, and they don't choose to become aware. They are unaware of the unawareness. They think they are aware, and they do not want to become aware. And so they do not experience security, assurance, peace. Their hearts are diseased too. There's no spiritual well-being. They're lost. These are the people that the anti-religious people look at and say, how can you believe that a man is God, a woman is God, or things are God and all. This is like, Father Christmas, Santa Claus kind of ideas, the Tooth Fairy, and these kind of ideas of God that people have. And yes, many of us have been deniers of God or associators of partners with God. We think that money is God because we turn to money. Money will make us okay. A job will make us okay. Our own actions will make us okay. Somebody else taking care of us, they'll make us okay. We'll make others okay because we'll take care of them. We associate partners. We put the created world or images as that we have as creation of God as God. It's not true. And then comes those who believe they believe. They might have revelation. They might even read the scripture. They might use the name of God. They might, talk about Allah, and they might read the Quran. They might even do prayers and all that sort of thing. They might want to look like or dress. I can't even say look like. They might want to, just wear a beard, because the Prophet looked healthy and fit and strong, because he was. These people might just want to imitate and act like they're being like the Prophet, but they're not really being like the Prophet. These are hypocrites. They say they believe, but they don't believe. In their hearts is a disease, and Allah leaves them to stray. That disease is expanded. They think they fool themselves. They think they fool Allah, but all they do is fool themselves. So there are people who are Muslims, but they're not. I call them Islamis. They don't really know Allah. They don't know what Tawheed is. They don't know the oneness, the onlyness. They're not aware of Allah as Allah actually is. They have ideas and beliefs about Allah. They are religious and they have a religious personality. And even within the religion, there's different religious personalities arguing each other and so on and so forth. But these people too, as the Quran says, they believe in Allah and they say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they don't. They're self-deceivers. And in their hearts is a disease. They are stray. They are left to stray. And that disease is expanded. So they are that group of people. I've been all three actually at different times in my life. And when you like that, you're unaware that you're unaware. And you don't want to recognize that there is for you to become God aware, because you think you're so smart, there is no God, nobody can fool you. The Quran says, how can you not believe, seeing that you are not and now you are? You've come into existence not because of yourself. How can you still not believe? They're not aware. They're not reasoning. The Quran says it's a book for reasoning, for those who reason. It calls us to the one universal creator, the one universal truth. It calls us to submit as a creation of God so that we may experience the peace of God and live powerfully and apply ourselves powerfully and experience God's good for us in this world and the world beyond prosperous. It calls humanity to a higher level of awareness, experiencing, expressing, relating, responding, applying ourselves. It calls humanity to a higher level of seeing and appreciating and living. A higher perspective beyond living in what I call this phantom self perspective. You see, when somebody thinks they know there's no God, that's not really them. That's the phantom self, because that's not true that there's no God. But you think, I know there's no God. To which is this I that is so convinced that there is no God. It's a phantom I. They don't know they're worshipping Satan. Whenever we are in the phantom self, we are worshipping Satan. Whenever we believe things that are not true, whenever we believe lies that cause us to feel bad and behave badly. Remember what the Quran says, Satan threatens you with insecurity, and Satan causes you to behave in ways unseemly because he threatens you. So whenever you're feeling threatened, afraid, vulnerable, worried, whenever you think you know too much, you're acting very smart and so on, that's the phantom self. That's you worshipping Satan. And so those people think they already know, and they think they're so smart, and you can't teach them anything. And then they're in the phantom self. And there are those who come from their religions that have taught them that a man is God, something created is God, all that sort of thing. Some ideas in your mind are God, money is God, your work is God, you turn to your application to get money is God. There are people who have these ideas, and they're so convinced in the phantom self you can't get through to them. They want to continue in that way. They have a religious identity. They'll fight for it. They'll die for it. Especially those that are hypocrites. They say they believe, but they don't. They've got big shot ideas. They talk about the kuffar and the mushrik like, they're no different from them. But they talk like, oh, we're different. The Quran tells us the munafiqs, the hypocrites, those who say they believe but don't, those who are deceiving themselves, are no different from the mushriks. They will have the same consequences in this world and the world beyond. You get what I mean? So if you fail to remember Allah, the Quran tells us, yours will be a depressed life. What it means is you won't experience spiritual well-being. Your heart will be diseased. You won't experience peace. You won't experience ease. You won't feel free. You won't have spiritual joy. You'll be always unhappy and something. You'll be controlled by the world, trying to control the world. You'll be needy in some way. You'll be needy on somebody and something. You'll be needily trying to control somebody or something. You'll be trying to get somebody to take care of you. You'll be so upset that people don't care about you, past, present, and future. You'll be trying to care of other people, take care of them, Instead of being caring to others or wanting other people's caring, you feel like they should have taken care of you, they should be taking care of you, or you feel you should be taking care of others. But you deny that only Allah has caused us and continued us. Allah is the one taking care of us, causing us and continuing us, giving us humanity, giving others humanity. Allah is the one alone taking care of us. So, but you don't remember. You're denying, you're living with the phantom self. You think that human beings can take care of you, or you can take care as a human being can take care of other people. Or you're fearing that nobody must ever take care of me, I must always take care of me, but you're denying that it is Allah in whose care you already are in. You're like, no, because I'm working, because I don't need anybody, I look after myself. I work for my money, I work for my survival, you know what I mean? All this is types of shirk, even if you say you believe in Allah. But you don't, because you're not experiencing that reliance upon Allah, that trust in Allah, that Allah is enough for you, that Allah is taking care of you, taking care of everything for you. Allah is handling everything. You're not really aware of Allah, and so you're not experiencing that peace, that ease. So when we are in these three levels, there's all kinds of spiritual diseases, and we'll be able to see that neediness in the world. You'll be able to see that, like turning to the world desperately, being in this trance, like getting upset if you don't have something, and if you have something you don't want, getting upset, trying to change things. Like living in the fear of some problem and trying to avoid feeling bad, trying to feel good, trying to make sure you don't have a problem, thinking if you don't have a problem, everything is okay. You're living, trying to maintain how you've been living in the past. You're thinking the only time I have a problem is if I can't continue to be the way I am. When you worship Satan and you're in that phantom self and you're unaware that you're unaware, you're non-experiencing, and that you're not aware of the guidance that guides you to remember Allah, to become aware of Allah. You just like, the most important thing is, can I just continue to be like how I've always been? So those arrogant deniers that are kuffar, that are atheists and so on and so forth, they'll be like, we don't want to be changed, don't try and change us. If I have a discussion with them and I invite them to truth, to humility, to submission, they don't want to hear. Most people, if they remain there, if they like, no, we already know, we don't want to remember. That's how most people who have come up to the conclusion there's no God are. When you try and talk to them about God, they're like, no, we don't want to hear. We don't want to remember. We don't know anything about what you're saying because we already know. And when you speak to those who have religion of different kinds that are clearly astray, when you tell them this is truth, there's only one power, because of whom we all are, because of whom we all continue to be, the creator of Adam and Eve, of Noah, of Abraham, of all human beings, of Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, the one, peace be upon them all, the one to whom everybody turns to in truth. Like, no, we don't want to hear about a universal religion of truth, and we don't want to hear about a universal God. We have our own ideas. We were taught this when we were growing up. We believe in a man, we believe in a woman, we believe in money, we believe in something or the other than God. It's this thing that we're turning to. It's the sun, it's the moon, it's, whatever. It's this religion. They have this religious identity, and if you try to share with them, they're like, don't remind me. I don't want to remember. Don't tell me the truth. They're against remembering God. They're against the truth. And so the third category is the munafiqs. They think, from India, they were the gurus and the pandits and all that, and they think they're sorted. So you tell them about that there's no power except Allah. Allah is the only authority. There's no human being that is, for us to turn to. Nobody and nothing created is our refuge. Allah is our refuge. That Allah is available to us. We don't turn to any other human being, and we don't need to. Allah has given us the privilege to connect with Him directly. And if you believe in Allah, He'll guide your heart. It doesn't require anything more from you. And you try to talk to them and they're like, don't tell me. We want to continue to be who we were and who we are. We don't want to be reminded. So there are people on the planet, the Quran tells us that don't waste your time with them, in the sense like they're not interested. They're hearing, they hear not, seeing, they see not, their hearts don't want to behold. They will not reason. The Prophet was told, give the message. But don't worry when they don't hear and reason with you, because they are people who will not reason. They don't want to be reminded of truth. They want to remain the same. So I told you about the 3 phases. I was like this. And that's where we all start. We all think we all got it. You ask anybody from any religion, they'll tell you they're the chosen people. You ask any people, no matter how lost they are, they'll tell you, no, we believe, we're right. And they don't want to hear anything about the error. They will not humble themselves. I was there. So when you live like that, you will not value guidance. Guidance means nothing to you. You're not interested in it. You don't want it. You think you're already guided. In the meantime, you're misguided by the ways of your forefathers, by Satan whispering to you. You think you know, you are in your arrogance, you don't know. But you know you don't want to know. You're like, don't tell me anything, don't teach me. You get angry or upset if people have to share the truth with you about how you've lived, how you're living, where you are, what's going on. You take it personally. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't tell me my family is wrong. We're not wrong. You are wrong. You get defensive. You get what I mean? So that's where most people are, and that's where most people remain. Their hearts are diseased. They are astray. Allah will not guide a people who does not reason. They're not interested in guidance. They want to remain the same, and I was there. And when you live like that, when you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. You know what I mean? It's a depressed life. You might be thinking, but you know what? What do you mean depressed? I'm so happy. I got a new car. I got a new house. Some people got a new wife. Whatever it is, I'm so happy. I'm so excited. The Quran says, don't let this world deceive you. Be in the world and claim you're good in it. Have your portion, but you're not for this world. It's for the next world. You are here for the hereafter. Claim your portion in this world, but don't get lost here. Don't get lost in the dunya. This world is very deceptive. Get what I mean? But people are not interested in what the Quran is saying. So they'll be like, as long as we're not feeling bad and as long as we're not feeling sad, we're okay. So a lot of people will think they have no problem. Because look, they have mastered the art of money getting. They know that if you go and study or start a business and you can meet a need in public and you can have money and you can buy things. So a lot of people think they got a house, they know they can marry rich men and women, and if they marry rich men and women, or if they educate their children and the children become rich, they can depend on them. So a lot of people are like, hey, we got no problem because we got money, because we got a job, or we know somebody, or we got somebody who's got money and a job, or a job and money, so we got no problem. So a lot of people are living thinking that they're very happy, but they are spiritually depressed. They're not experiencing spiritual well-being. Their heart is still diseased. So don't ever think that you got a job, you're so happy, you got money, you got your health, you're so happy, because there are a lot of kuffar, deniers of God. There are a lot of associators or partners with God. There are also a lot of mushriks, those who say they believe in Allah in the last day, but they're not aware of God. They are lost, and their hearts is a disease. But in worldly terms, they're very comfortable. They got no problem if you ask them. But the problem is they're not experiencing spiritual well-being. They don't know what they are. They don't know where they are. They don't know who created them and where they are and how the Creator's, the will of God is always done. They don't know anything of that. They have a religious identity. They're living through this religious identity that they want to perpetuate, or even an identity that is not religious. They want to perpetuate it. They don't want to know what they really are. They don't want to know their Creator. They don't want to experience Tawheed. And that's where I was. But I am not there. I'm very happy to tell you I am not there. That today I am a believer. I am aware and experiencing Tawheed, and I'm experiencing connection. I know what assurance, when I remember Allah, my heart experiences assurance. I know that as I remember Allah abundantly, I progress in this world through my death, and I'm living it. As I'm thankful to Allah, I get more. All the things that the Quran tells us, that if you connect with Allah in the various ways, how your life improves. I can tell you that's in fact the case. That you know what, in my heart there's tranquility. I can tell you that. I can tell you that, that I am not the same man that I was. I have Iman in my heart. I'm not just saying I believe, I'm not just saying that, I'm a Muslim, I'm a believer. The Quran says, do not say that you believe until faith enters into your heart. You can't say you believe. It's only if faith enters into your heart then you believe. Until then, say that you are one who's submissive in religion. And that's where the people who are really sincerely, not the hypocrites, they still didn't have developed faith. You see, you get those who say the kalima, but they're hypocrites from the start till the end. But there are those who accept the truth and the shahada, but they're not hypocrites. And they're still on a spiritual path. They're still learning. They're still learning about truth and submissive, and they can submit to Allah and experience Allah consciousness. I mean, somebody can hear about this religion and think it's very nice, and yes, and they can join it, and they can do all the things like fast and go for Hajj and do your regular prayers and give zakat and so on and so forth. But they might still be in that Iman. They might still be developing that Iman in their heart, the Tawheed, the first pillar of Islam. So there are those who are submissive to the deen, to the way. And they are not hypocrites. They're still learning. They're still developing spiritually. But there are others who they can't even say we're submissive in religion because they're just following, they want an identity, they want to be like what their parents told them to be. They're not interested in Allah. They're not interested in the Quran. They're not interested in the Prophet. They're not interested in Islam. They're interested in being like how their parents told them to be and the gurus told them to be. They want to be right. They want to be better than other people. They want to believe that they are right. They're not interested in, and they only talk about Allah to be right, because they are right. They only talk about the Quran and read the Quran to be right. They're not interested in Allah. They're not interested in the revelation. They're not interested in the Prophet. They're not interested in Islam. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the hypocrites. You know what I'm talking about. They just want to say, I'm not bad. I'm right. I fit in. We are right. They argue with other sects, sects, with those with the different religious identity. So anyway, I'm just saying that I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in Iman in my heart, and there is Iman in my heart, and I'm telling you how I got here. I'm telling you where I was, where some of you listening to this recording may be. And I'm telling you how you can recognize where you are, and how you can further recognize you are there, that the heart is diseased. When your heart is diseased, you will be controlled by people, things, and experiences. You will be needy. You will be needy on the world. You'll feel desperate. I used to do cigarettes among other stimulants, and I even, did narcotics, back in the day. Because my heart was diseased. I had no aware of the power of Allah. I had no aware of Allah and His power. I didn't know I was okay. I was thinking that the world has power. So whenever you are unaware of Allah and His power, you'll notice that you'll project power onto the world, onto something or somebody, or onto yourself, that you can take care of somebody or something, or even you can take care of yourself. You think that you and what you do is so important. You and you working for money is the whole thing, point of life. You and getting money from somebody, or you and giving money to somebody, this is the most important thing. And that can move on to things like substances. You'll feel threatened, vulnerable, you'll be needy, you might even steal and cheat. You'll feel horrible within you, you'll need to change your moods. You'll be some kind of, workaholic or oholic in some way, or needy, dependent addict in some way. I was. You'd have no control over yourself. You'd be out of control or over control, but you won't be in control. You would be under control, you lose it in the world. Something will control you, drugs and all that sort of thing, cigarettes, people's behaviors, you'll lose it, you'll be controlled. Or you'll be over controlled, you'll be like this robot that is so, forceful over yourself. But eventually, that being against yourself is a perversion, it will be revealed as a perversion. So what I'm saying is, you'll be able to recognize yourself. If that is you, you'll be able to recognize other people. If it's them, they're under control, they're over control, but they're not in control. They're not at ease, they're not at peace, they're not relating with a peaceful heart. They're not patient, they're very impatient. They're against things, they need something, they need somebody. They need something to change, they need somebody to change, they need something to be different, they need somebody to be different. They get worried, they're affected, they're always bothered, they're not at peace. I was there, that's why I'm telling you. Now, you will be destructive to some degree. You're neglecting yourself, your body, your life. You're not really caring for you, your body and your life. If you are caring for your body, it's because of image. I don't want to be fat. People are more interested in how their body looks than caring for their body. People are not interested in the relationship with themselves, in the relationship with their body, in relationship with their lives. They're not applying themselves with halal and tayyib. When they're eating, they're not eating tayyib. They'll just say halal, halal, halal. You know what I mean? But they have no interest in tayyib. This is what I mean. They're not really applying themselves with themselves, their bodies and their lives in the way the Prophet demonstrated and the Quran, guides us to. They're not. They're not. They're not applying themselves in a way that is beneficial and constructive. The Quran says that the true Muslims are the best of creation. They show a light to other people. You get what I mean? When you are in either of any of these three, you don't know God. You're not feeling the peace. You're not feeling secure. You're not at ease. You're not calm. You're not patient. You're not allowing of whatever is going on in other people. You're not in a state of spiritual joy. You don't know you have Allah and His compassion. You don't know any of these things. You don't know that Allah is enough for you. You don't trust in Allah. You don't know how to connect with Allah. You don't know how to apply yourself with Allah. You don't know how to use the power of Allah in your life. That's the saddest thing about remaining there, that the first vulnerability we have is with Allah. Allah is the one who created us. Allah is the one who takes care of us and takes care of everything for us. We've got to turn to Allah to have certain spiritual needs met. Allah meets our spiritual needs. But when you are in either of these three, kuffar, mushrik or munafiq. You don't really know Allah, you're not really connected. You're still in that first phase. Before that first phase, you are like, don't tell me, I don't want to remember. And you don't know, you're missing out on applying yourself with Allah and having Him protect you, progress you, prosper. You don't know that you're letting yourself down, that there is this power available to you, the power of Allah, and you are not in any way using it. You don't recognize it and what it's doing for you. You don't feel good about it, what it's given to you. You're not aware of it. And you're feeling fearful and threatened and vulnerable. You are in your phantom state. You're not in your real self where you feel relaxed and calm and connected and peaceful. You're not in the flow. You're in the force. You know what I mean? And you don't know the power of God and you're not using the power of God. And then you don't know the power given to you by God to apply yourself. You don't know how to apply yourself powerfully. You don't know how to apply yourself. You don't know how to care for you, your body and your life. Look at those with diseased hearts. You will see they don't know how to recognize Allah. They don't know how to humble themselves before Allah. They don't know how to value Allah. They don't know how to Tawheed and how to worship Allah from Tawheed. They don't know how to praise Allah. They don't know how to trust in Allah. They don't know how to thank in Allah. They don't know how to invoke the forgiveness of Allah. They don't know how to invoke Allah to progress them in this world through that. They don't know how to do this. They don't know how to invoke the prospering of Allah. They don't know how to do this, so they don't do it and then they miss out. Now, good news for me is I didn't know, but guidance came to me and I didn't say, don't tell me, I already know. I want to remain the same. When guidance came to me, I received it. Not at first, but eventually. I received it. And today, I know Allah and how to draw closer and how to have Him, keep me close to Him and how to experience the protection progressing of. That is priceless. Now, you can live in the world. And you can live with the best of things of the world, the best of things and people in this world. But you don't know, that is a fail, that is a loser, if you haven't become Allah conscious and you haven't learned to relate to Allah and experience Allah's power. The Quran says that the heavens and the earth were created that the jinn and the humans may recognize the power of Allah. If you don't know, if you're not humble, if you're still in this phantom self, carrying on in your human identity, and you don't know your spiritual identity, you don't know what you are really, and who you are, and who Allah is to you. You just think, I'm this person, I'm this religious identity, whatever. You don't know that you are the spiritual being that Allah has created, and you know what you are as a spiritual being and what is possible for you. You don't know that you can experience the unseen, the ghaib. This is a book, the Quran says about itself, for those who believe in the unseen. You don't know about the unseen. All you know when you are in this fallen state, this forgotten, so when you forget Allah, you don't know Allah, you don't know the unseen. You're only lost with your thoughts about what you see. You're identified with your body and you're thinking what you see around you is all there is. You can't see Allah because you are in a phantom self-identity. It's only when you awaken and you remember Allah that you are in your spiritual identity, that when you look, you see Allah. His countenance, the Quran says, wherever you look, there is the countenance of Allah. You see Allah not with your physical eyes. You see Allah with your expanded self, your spiritual nature, the heart that is being purified. You see, people don't know that there's an expanded sense of self, a secure self, that Satan doesn't want you to experience. People don't know their spiritual nature. They don't know. It's a real experience thing. It's peace. The part of you that experiences peace or appreciation, the part of you that experiences spiritual joy is your true nature. The part of you, when you remember Allah and you experience security, that experience of security is your true nature. I know because I'm living it. Nobody told me this. I'm telling you from experience. But when you have not received guidance, you don't know peace. You don't know assurance. You don't know spiritual joy. You don't know you have Allah who's enough for you. You don't know the value of guidance, and that the guidance that you have, how valuable it is and what it does for you. You don't know the benefits. You just think, let me be a religious identity and do my prayers. God wants me to be a religious identity. I must just say this. I must just say I believe that. I must just do that. You don't know, you don't know. You think you know and you don't want to know if you're arrogant. But if you are humble and you're prepared to say, I'm here, the priority for my being here. What is the purpose for my being here? The Quran says is to recognize, to humble yourself and worship Allah, to remember Allah, to recognize the power of Allah, to recognize what Allah has given you. But the extent of Allah's giving is for us to experience humility before Allah. If you don't know humility before Allah, it's an experience. And you don't know how to humble yourself before Allah. You're not in your multidimensional nature, your spiritual nature. You're not into Iman. Your heart is not purified. You're remaining identified with the body. You think the world is real. You are with the trance that Satan suggested to you. Adam and Eve, Satan said to them, shall I show you, an experience of you being godly in a world that will never end. Like you become the masters in this world where there's no God and a world that will not perish. Shall I show you that? Adam and Eve disobeyed Allah. And there we were thereafter in a state of forgetfulness. That's what the Quran says, until guidance comes to you and your people. Your people will remain insecure. Read the Quran, the revelation that is guidance to humanity, that we all are malfunctioning. No, I'm not malfunctioning because I've got a nice house, my children did well, I've got enough money, I love my, life and this. Yes, but if you don't know your spiritual identity, which is aware, Tawheed, that there is only Allah, if you haven't become aware that Allah is before this world, unique and supreme, because of whom this world is, Allah is beyond this world, unique and supreme. If you haven't become aware of Allah, withdrawing your attention from this world so that you can be aware of Allah, if you're still very much identified with your phantom self, with your ego, with your satanic self, call it whatever you use, you focus on somebody or something before you focus on Allah, no matter how comfortable your life is, you're still a loser. You're no different from the mushriks who have what you have and the kuffar who have what you have. You get what I mean? Don't get fooled to think that if I am comfortable in this world, Allah has blessed me. No. You know that you are blessed when you have recognized guidance and you have received guidance and you know you've been through this process of humility before Allah. If you haven't gone through the process of receiving guidance and humbling yourself before Allah, you have not received guidance. You're still no different from the other two categories. If you say you're a Muslim, you're still not any different. If there's no peace in your heart, if there's no assurance, if you're no longer controlled by the world or trying to control the world, if you have this relationship with your Creator first, before anybody and everything, and you are into that relationship and applying yourself in that relationship, actually centered in God, not God as a deity, not deity-centric, centered in God, that you're actually aware and experiencing before you, before your body, before your life, before other people, Allah. Your first relationship is with Allah because Allah actually exists. If you haven't gotten there, you're still lost. You're still lost. You see, you're still lost. You might think, but I've got no problems. Let me tell you this. If you haven't humbled yourself and become aware of the power of Allah and become aware of the generous, gracious nature of Allah, if you haven't become aware of the gifts of Allah, if you are not feeling good with Allah, if you're thinking, I feel good because of the things of this world, I got a nice man, I got a nice woman, they take care of me, I got no problems, whatever it is, my partner is obedient, whatever it is, if you think that you are okay because of something in this world, that means you have not received guidance. Because the guidance guides us to be security oriented. That our good feeling is with Allah, and because of Allah, I can be penniless, but I feel good with Allah. I don't live in fear of being penniless, because I know, not only do I believe in Allah actually, but I believe in the last day. That the hereafter is forever. It's only if I have Iman in my heart, and I live in an honorable way, and I support a life tayyibun in this world, then I'm a winner. If guidance has come to me and I receive it, and I understand why I'm here, and what the purpose of life is, and I accept that, and I undertake that as my mission, then I'm a winner. You get what I mean? If you're just living in some kind of identity, I don't believe in God because I'm so smart, I know there's no God. Oh, I believe Jesus is God, I believe this idol is God, I believe money is God, I believe fire is God, whatever you believe is God. Or, if you say I believe in Allah on the last day, but you don't actually believe, you're just lying to yourself. You can be very comfortable in the world, but you know what? You will see, sooner or later, there's no peace, the diseased heart in you. You will see it how you are with Allah. You'll see it how you are with yourself, your body, your life. You will see it how you are with other people. A diseased heart, you can't hide it. You can't hide it. It's sickening, and it creates sickening attitudes and sickening behaviors and sickening relationships. That diseased heart keeps you from having a relationship of security with Allah. It keeps you from experiencing being okay now that's got nothing to do with anybody or anything in this world. It keeps you from that peace, that diseased heart. It keeps you from inner peace. You will behave in ways that will hurt you, your body, your life, and other people. People can't trust you. You can't trust you. You will be perverted in some way. You live unnaturally. Get what I mean? So, the first phase is to recognize what I'm saying to you. That I have not received guidance. I may think I've received guidance, but I haven't received guidance. And when you begin to speak that truth to yourself, I'm not living with Iman, I'm not living with Amal, and I'm not living a life tayyibun. Remember what the Quran tells us, that for those who have faith in their hearts and have good conduct, whether they be male or female. So some of you might be thinking as part of the, guru culture, oh, the men must go to the mosque, the men must practice religion. It doesn't make any difference for us. The woman, religion is not, or God is not for us, or spirituality is not for us, or the afterlife is not for us, because you got that heavy, chauvinistic against woman mentality, because you come from that type of people. You might think, this is not for me. So the Quran reminds us, men and women, if you have Iman in your heart, and if you live in an honorable way, if you have a relationship with Allah, a healthy relationship, and if you have a relationship with you, your body and your life, and you have a healthy relationship with other people in the community, then there is for you a life tayyibun, a wholesome life. For those with a diseased heart, they can have everything in life, but there's no peace. And there's no real wholesome. There's no wholesome. You can see it. There's perversion. There's unhappiness. There's misery. For if you fail to remember Allah, yours will be a depressed life. But you might think, I'm very excited. I'm not depressed. Become aware that you are depressed spiritually. Become aware that you are not spiritually expressed. Become aware that your heart is diseased. Don't get fooled by excitement with Satan. Satan wants you to. And some people are, but we don't even have everything and all. So Satan wants you to live avoiding suffering and live surviving or getting excited about, having what you want. It's about this world. Satan is all about you and this world, I'm suffering away, I'm struggling away, I am, sacrificing away. It's unnatural. I'm striving away for more and more of the worldly things. But if you're not secure, and you're not selfful, and you're not living a satisfied life, your heart is diseased, and you have failed. You are failing. Satan will tell you, don't worry about the guidance. No, you're not failing. You're so happy. You got a good job. Everything. Look at your life. You can hold your head up high in society because look at how long you married, and look at you got new carpets, and look you got what car you're driving. You to do. You're somebody special. Look at your children. They're educated. Look at your grandchildren. Whatever you do, you're thinking I'm big shot in society. You can have all those things. But if you don't have Iman, you won't enjoy those things, and it means nothing. You would live and die as a loser, you'd be raised up as a loser. Get what I mean? Now, most people don't want to hear this. So most people don't want to be reminded of Allah. Most people don't want to, be told the truth. Leave me, let me continue in my ways. If that is you, then you won't be here if that is you, which is a paradox, right? But if you're here and that is you, that I want to continue to be how I've been and how I've lived, and I never learned to humble myself before God. What that actually means as an adult. I've never recognized the power and sufficiency of God, adequacy of God, the provisioning of God, the providing of God, and what I've never seen it. I don't know. If you start realizing that you don't know Allah and you don't have a relationship with Allah, that your first relationship is not with Allah, it's with your work. You get up in the morning and the main thing is get to your job. Or it's with your spouse. Get up in the morning and please them. Or you know what, you're doing things for your family. Remember what the Quran says, neither will your wealth, your business, your livelihood avail you, nor will your children, family, relatives. There's a reason why Allah tells us in the Quran, your wealth and your children or your family is not going to avail you. Because that's what people are focused on. If your whole purpose in life is to amass money or to survive, which is the same thing, you're obsessed with money, getting money. If that's your main purpose in life, then you are lost. If your main purpose in life is to take care of your children and you are being their gods, or they are your gods, you're controlled by them. If that's, you don't even learn about Iman and you don't teach them about Iman. You just send them to madrasa, go and learn. If that's you, then heed guidance, if you can. That you are in error, that you are losing, that you are not fulfilling the reason why you are here. That this world is temporary. It's here to assess who will incline to truth and who will remain worshipping Satan. This is the message of the Quran. That you are here and your sole responsibility is to remember Allah. This is your main priority. You can do everything and have everything else in the world until you experience assurance with Allah, until you recognize Allah and receive Allah, acknowledge Allah. You have failed. You have failed. You are failing. Get what I mean? Now the good news is, you don't have to feel bad about the fact that you are to remember Allah. Everybody born of a man and a woman, had to remember Allah. Ibrahim alayhi salam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, it's all human beings' job when we are here to remember. Don't feel like, why I forgot, I shouldn't have forgotten. It's bad that I've forgotten. It's bad if you choose to remain in a state of forgetfulness. You understand? If you have no intention of remembering Allah, having a relationship with Allah, humbling yourself before Allah, having that first relationship with Allah, meeting your spiritual needs, turning to Allah before you turn to yourself or turn to anybody else. Before you turn to Allah or turn to anybody else, or you tell people to turn to you. If you have a relationship with anybody other than Allah or anything in the created world, if you're obsessed with drugs or cigarettes or food, if you're perverted in some way, you need to have some man or woman, whatever it is. If you are obsessed with the worldly things or somebody, if you control, you got to see that I'm spiritually ill. Don't feel bad that you are spiritually ill. Everybody is. But you must admit that you are spiritually ill without guilt, shame and unworthiness. And you must be thankful that Allah is compassionate and merciful. That He's giving us guidance knowing that we are astray. He already knows we were astray, I was astray, and to the degree that I still have a diseased heart, He already knows. But He's guiding me to truth, guiding me to awaken, to remember. And this is what some of us will begin to realize. Those of us who entered the first phase of spiritual development, we realize we could have been left to live without guidance, to remain like beggars, addicts and victims, to remain unaware of our Creator and what problems that creates for us. We could have been left to remain having a diseased heart. Allah could have said, you know what, I cautioned Adam and Eve that don't listen to Satan, and they didn't listen to me, they listened to Satan. And you know what? They created problems for themselves and for their families. It's got nothing to do with me, that human beings are diseased in their hearts because they forgot me, and they're living miserably, and they going deeper and deeper into their minds, creating more and more horrors, going to hell literally. Allah could have said, leave them. I leave them. They wanted this, leave them. But this is Allah's compassion. You see the guidance. Some of us will recognize the value of guidance, not those who don't want to be reminded. We'll start looking at what is this guidance thing, and what is its value to us. And that Allah is giving us this guidance. He is truly the compassionate and merciful. Allah is truly the compassionate and merciful. That's what you remember. When you look at the Quran and its message, when you look at the revelations given to humanity, the guidance that has been given to humanity, it's telling us, you are astray, you are forgotten. Remember Allah. Humble yourself, draw closer. This is not a punitive God demanding your obedience. This is a merciful Creator who could have left you to stray. He could have left humanity to be unaware, insecure. Imagine if we continue to live insecure, self-abandoning, life-depriving. Imagine if we didn't connect with Allah, if we didn't feel secure. Imagine if we didn't connect with ourselves, our bodies and our lives, and we didn't play a beneficial role. Imagine if we didn't care for others. Allah said He put compassion and love in our hearts. Imagine if we don't claim that love and compassion that is in our hearts and give it to others and don't receive it from. You know what the state, well, look around you, you might see what can happen to human beings who don't receive it. But it's only from getting to this point where I am that I can see the benefits of the guidance, how I feel. I have spiritual joy, I have psychological joyfulness, and I have experiential enjoyment, natural, good feelings. I'm living there. Imagine if there was no guidance. Imagine if I didn't receive the guidance. I'd have been in a mental home. I would have been in a police lockup somewhere, in prison. You know what I mean? There are Muslims who deserve to be in prison and all that sort of thing. Some of them are. I'm not talking about real ones, I'm talking about hypocrites. You know why? They don't see the value of guidance. They don't know what the Quran is for and how it benefits us. They're not interested in being benefited by the Quran. So when guidance comes to us, only those who are interested in being benefited by truth, by haqq, through an expansion to the real self, the true self, and living authentically. Basically, guided to Iman in our hearts, Amal, in our conduct, and living in this world with people, things, and experiences in a wholesome, natural way. Those of us who see the value of that, we really value guidance. And it's a process. It's a process. That's why phase 1 is where you see that you are astray. And you realize, it dawns upon you, you got a diseased heart. No matter what Satan has told you, keep it up, you're doing well, fail to remember Allah, you're doing so well. You realize, I'm no different from the mushriks. I really want to be aware of Allah. And the guidance, what is the guidance and why is the guidance there? What is the guidance all about? It's about awakening me, reminding me, so that I may live in a way beyond the darkness and the light. I may live beyond superstition, ignorance and arrogance, beyond entitlement. I may live enlightened. I may live aware and experiencing security. I might live aware and experiencing the power of Allah and the sufficiency of Allah, and experience Allah taking care of me, further taking care of me, handling things for me, protecting me, progressing me and prospering, because I'm not currently, some of us are like, somebody else is protecting me. I'm turning to somebody and something other than Allah to protect me. I'm turning to other than Allah to progress me and prosper me. We're not in the relationship with Allah. What a wonderful thing is to be in that relationship with Allah. But the first step, the first part of the phase 1 is to recognize there is guidance and I require it because I am living with a diseased heart. I am living having not remembered. Everybody is here, and those who remember, they are winners. For if you remember, if you receive the guidance and value the guidance and use the guidance, you'll experience the power of God. You'll know you're okay and everything is okay. You'll have God take care of you, take care of everything for you. You'll apply yourself with the ability given by God for you to care for you, your body and your life. You'll live applying yourself powerfully. You won't live hurting yourself, your body, your life. You won't live like that. And you live with other people and things, valuing and appreciating. That's what you can live. So in the beginning, in the first phase, it's realizing, I am in error. There is guidance. I'm grateful for the guidance. What is the value of the guidance? And what a wonderful thing. Our Creator is so compassionate and merciful. We were left, He didn't leave us in the darkness. He gave us the revelation. Sent us the Prophet. Gave us the teaching. There's others to remind us. There's a keep reminding. You know what I mean? So we become aware that we are astray without guilt, shame and unworthiness. We become aware that there is another way. We choose it. We recognize the blessing and the benefit that the Quran is. And we want to hear what is its message. And we uncover the compassion of Allah. That Allah, even though we are astray, Allah is here to protect us and forgive us. And we feel good even though there is still a lot for us to learn, grow and develop. There's a process ahead of us. But the first phase is this. You start feeling good now, knowing that I'm in error, not feeling guilt, shame and unworthiness. Thankful for the mercy of Allah. And recognizing there's a way beyond how I've been living. Satan says there's no other way. Remain how you've been, live how you've lived, experience what you're... But there is beyond, I tell you. There's Iman, there's Amal, a life tayyibun. I choose it. I aspire higher, I choose higher. And for those of us who value the guidance and living as enlightened human beings, fulfilling our priority for being here, knowing that it's about living with Iman, Amal, a life tayyibun. It's about preparing ourselves for the hereafter, receiving Allah's good in this world, and we choose it. We have successfully completed phase 1. We are there. We don't have to be perfect, we don't have to be different, but our attitude is right. We realize we've been in error. We realize there's learning. We realize the value of guidance. We want to be guided. We're open to guidance. We can reason. And we begin phase 2. Inshallah, we'll continue next week. Shukr to Almighty Allah who's guided us. Those of us who value the guidance, we can no longer remain how we've been. We can move into potentials as a believer, as a adult, empowered adult. And we can live naturally in life with food and money and people and things, and experience abundance with natural rather than being perverted around food, money and things of this world. Shukr to Allah. Without this guidance, I would have been lost forever. With this guidance, I'm a winner in this world through my death and beyond. Nothing scares me. I can get sick and die, but I know I have prepared myself for my death. I can be penniless, but I know I've prepared myself for the hereafter. I know Allah knows what is in my heart. I know I've lived humbly, and I choose to be more humble. I know I've lived recognizing the power of Allah and choosing to experience the power of Allah, the privileging of Allah even more. I'm among those who are appreciative and accepting. I'm not the same man I was. I'm in phase 3, shukr to Allah. But I'm just sharing with you how I went from phase 0 to phase 1. And if any of you want to go there, you can go there too. If not, that's fine too. That is your prerogative. I'm not saying that you must do this. The Quran says if you want to remain an unbeliever, let them remain unbelieving. If you want to be a believer, become a believer. Allah will show you what you have done. It's not for me to worry about you. It's not for you to worry about me. All I'm to concern myself with is bringing to Allah my purified heart, not yours. The state of your heart has got nothing to do with me. When you return to Allah, the Quran cautions us, bring only to Allah a purified heart. Nothing else is going to matter. So I'm doing it. I'm not the same man. You can see the difference in me. I see the difference in me. The people around me. I'm different in my attitude. I'm different in my relationship with Allah. I'm different in my relationship with me, my body, my life. The potentials and possibilities that exist. I'm different. I'm different with the way I am with my afterlife. I'm looking forward to it. Shukr to Allah. All praise, glory and thanks is due to Allah Almighty. His choicest blessings upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.